All right, so I dropped the 1 right here. Thank you. I dropped the 1. There we go. There we go. Yeah, 17. That's a whole lot easier. I should have just left it a common denominator. Let's do that. It's easier. Let's just leave it a common denominator of 85. So what's 7 times, that's 85, and 15 times 4 is 60, negative 60, and negative 60 minus 24 is negative 84 over 85, and you feel good about yourself. So somebody write down for me the sign of A plus B is equal to negative 84 over 85. Write that down. Oh, we got to type all these in so we can check and make sure we know what we're doing. Now you do the sign of A minus B. Now, are you going to erase all of this? No. No. I'm going to erase just this portion. Because you're going to plug and chug. Do y'all have negative 84 over 85? Do y'all have that written down? Yep. Okay, so I'm going to take my handy dandy virtual eraser and I'm going to erase everything below there. And we're going to start over with another plug and chug. Now the reason I'm not erasing it is to show you again, you've done 2 out of 3 parts. The third part is what you have to do over and over. So, sine of A minus B is sine cosine minus cosine sine, right? Sine of A minus B is equal to sine cosine minus cosine sine. Sine cosine minus cosine sine. Now, is there anything I'm going to do here to make life easier? What did I do? I put parentheses in red right there. Why? Because this is a what?
Distribute the negative.
This is a negative, and you're going to have to do what with that negative? And that's where students make a mistake. Because we have students that invented mathematics, right?
Yes.
Where's Pendleton? Something happened to the screen. What happened to the screen?
That's not Pendleton, that's Oconee.
No, there's Pendleton right there. Okay, Oconee just went to the wall. That's it.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Wall. Thank you.
Oh, there we go.
Critton, thank you for communicating and getting the camera turned around. All right, so the number one mistake students make here is they forget to put parentheses because they don't need parentheses. Y'all have heard that before? I don't need parentheses. And then when they get to the bottom of the problem, they forget to distribute the negative, and then they cry, whine, and moan that they got the problem wrong because they invented mathematics. So, sine of A, cosine of A, or is it B? I'm sorry. B, yeah, B. And cosine of A, cosine of B. There we go. All right, I'm going to let y'all plug and chug on this one. Our vending machine guy, he's getting smart. Sold out of gummy worms the first 2 times. He put honey buns in there, and they like got old. He stopped the 3rd time. You know, when you run out of something, you usually put double the amount. No, not this guy. He puts honey buns in the place of gummy worms. Okay? So, he finally got a little bit smart, and he put gummy worms back in his place, and he put more. What a concept. All right, so some of y'all don't like gummy worms. Y'all can't appreciate it. That's okay. They're the best things in the world, next to alcohol. All right, so sign of somebody's going to go tell my boss that I'm an alcoholic now. Pendleton campus, that's what they're going to do. They're going to go to my boss and say, he's talking about alcohol again. Well, ain't that the point of a recovering alcoholic, you know, to talk about it? All right, no, I'm just kidding. It's a joke. Have a sense of humor. My father was an alcoholic. I can say that. All right, no, I'm just kidding. All right, sine of what? Sine of A is negative 15 over 17. Cosine of B? Cosine of B is 4 over 5. Minus parentheses, and I'm going to put that in red. Because some of y'all don't need it, right? I'll put it in yellow. Yeller for some of those from around here. Yeller. Cosine of A, somebody tell me what the cosine of A is. Cosine of A is 8 over 17 times. The sine of B is negative 3 over 5. I guarantee somebody's out there going, oh, I see what he's doing now. And I'm going to go ahead and leave the common denominator as whatever I said it was a while ago.
85.
So negative 15, that's going to be negative 60 over 85 minus a negative 24 over 85. And look, this is a trick I learned in the war. That negative and that negative turn into a positive. So that's going to be negative. You owe somebody $60, you give them 24, you owe them 36. How much?
36.
So that's going to be owing 36 over 85. And your answer to your second part of your question is that. Write it down. All right, now you do the tangent of A plus B. Now, of course, you got to have your shortcuts because I can barely see it. Tangent of A plus B, tan, 1 minus tan, I believe.
10
plus 10.
Yeah.
1 minus 10.
Tan. Florida did good.
Florida did great.
Yeah. I'm glad to see Florida come back up.
That's my team.
They're good. You from Florida?
I live in Tampa Bay.
Oh, I got to go to Tampa down that dang old first of the year. I got to go down there. Dang old conference. Dang old chasing wild women. Anyway, that's a joke. Okay, I have to say joke behind everything because some of y'all don't have any personality, no sense of humor. Humor's talking about chasing wild women. I'm really concerned.
Wild women.
When I was growing up, there's an old man. You know, everybody has an old man in their community, and I'd say, "How you doing?" Blah blah blah, and he'd go, "Oh, all right." He's chasing these wild women, kind of get too bad for your health. And he's like about 180 years old.
That's true. Yeah.
Florida plays.
They play
who did they
Georgia.
play this week?
Georgia.
Yeah, that's it. Georgia and Florida and Alabama and LSU. That's going to be 2 good games to watch.
Yeah.
There's about the only 4 teams that can play anybody right now.
Yeah. I think Florida can win.
I like Florida, but I got to pull for my dogs. I'm sorry.
They got killed by LSU, and
They
Florida
didn't get
beat
killed.
LSU.
Come on, really? They didn't get killed. But we can always talk about Florida's first game.
Against Kentucky?
Kentucky, granted, Kentucky is doing good.
They're,
Are you going to eat that Snickers or are you going to play with it?
SEC East.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Florida's leading the SEC East right now.
I hope they do good. I'd love to see all SEC teams 1 through 4. I'd love to see that.
No.
Negative.
Why y'all think it's not going to be 1 through 4?
No.
You really think that's going to happen?
That'd be bad.
No, I don't think so. Are you going to eat that Snickers bar, or are you going to You need to hurry up and eat that Snickers bar. It's driving me crazy. I'm just kidding. I just thought I'd pick on somebody today. I picked on Mr. Swords enough. I don't want to give him a complex. Miss Priddington, she's got the Johnny Cash look today, so I better not mess with her. Dang old boy named Sue. Only thing worse than a boy named Sue is a boy named Hubert. I got in more fights over my dadgum name. I ain't seen a Snickers bar with Hubert on the side of it yet. Or is that the Coke? That's the Coke bottle. I ain't seen a Coke bottle with Hubert on the side of it. Alright, so the tangent of A plus B is equal to 1, or tangent of A, tan, over 1 minus tan. I have to remember my way of doing it.
We're doing the tangent of A plus B.
Because tan to Hubert means tangent plus and then multiply. The only time I use another sign beside those is negative, and that's why I say tan, 1 minus tan. That means tan plus tan over 1 minus tan, which means multiplication. The only sign you use really is the minus sign. So if you were doing tangent of A minus B, it would be tan minus tan over tan plus tan. I guess you just have to think like me to understand what the heck I'm talking about. But the whole point is I got my own little system of remembering it. I'll shut up. Anyway, so we've got the tan now. So we take the tan of A right here, and the tan of B, and the tan of A, and the tan of B. And we go tan of A, we've already got negative 15 over 7, or negative 15 over 8. Now I'm going to tell you where everybody's head explodes on this one. Tangent of B is negative 3 over 4. Over 1 minus, same thing, negative 15 over 8.
Shouldn't there be the 2 ones on top?
What?
It's the numerator is.
Oh yeah,
adding
plus, yeah. I got it right there. Forgot to add it. Thank you. Over 1 minus the same thing, negative 3 over 4. Now, where does people's head explode? Well, one, you got a negative in front of that double negative. That's one place that people's head explode. So what do you put there? You put a big set of brackets. You put a bracket right there and a bracket right there. Now, I'm talking to those people that say they don't need brackets. Those are the people I'm talking to. And then the other thing is you've got a fraction on top of another fraction, which means you're going to have to multiply by the reciprocal. And that's where the other people's head explodes. Why? Because they've been raised on those little idiot boxes. They don't know how to do fractions. They don't know how to do 6th grade math. That's fine. Okay? So, if you need a cry closet, then go find one, or a puppy, but that's the facts. So, negative 15 times negative 3 is our plus. We've got to get a common denominator. That's going to be 6 over 8. Somebody check me on that.
Yeah.
Negative 16 plus a negative 6 is negative 21 over 8.
Correct.
Over 1 minus brackets. And that's going to be positive 45 over 32. I can't reduce, so I'm just going to write negative 45 or positive 45 over 32. I wish I could have a bigger space to do this in. Okay, now the first thing you need to do is address the denominator. So you've got to change that 1 into 32 over 32. Now again, I know I'm going over this for a lot of people that know it, but I know a lot of people were on the calculator drill team in high school, and you have no idea what I'm doing right now. You got to get a common denominator. All right? Don't raise your hand and say I'm talking about you because you're telling the class that I'm talking about you. All right? So 32 minus 45 is what? I have no idea.
Negative 13.
Thank you. Negative 13. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to write negative 21 over 8 divided by negative 13 over what? 32. Now you got a denominator. First of all, you got a negative divided by a negative. So the answer is going to be positive, Hubert. Thank you, class. So 21 over 8. I'm just going to clean this up right here. I'm just going to go right here. And I'm going to say 21 over 8 multiplied by 32 over what? 13. And we can take our handy dandy, mark that out, and 21 times 4 is 84. 84 over what? I don't know if that's reducible. I don't think it is. Unless 4, no, 6 times, no, 8. It'd be 8 times 3. That won't work.
13 is a.
So I think that's it. Or what? Is that the final one we got to do? No, we got to do A minus B. Now, like I said, this is not a good test question, but it's a good question for you to study for the test. Because there's 4 questions that are test questions in this question. So whoever set this question, you did good.
How did you get 32 over 13?
32 over 13. 32 over 13. When you divide by a fraction, right here, when you divide a fraction by a fraction, you multiply by the what? Reciprocal.
Right.
And that's a negative. Negative times a negative is a positive. And then I canceled the 8 and the 32 and got that. You with me?
Yeah, I know that part. Okay, yeah, I understand.
Who else got a question? Snickers, you got a question? You got that look. You got that look that you have a question. I just wondered.
Actually,
Good. You do have a question.
I do. What's that part in the red? In the 32 over 32? I got lost there.
I changed that to a common denominator. The denominator is what? The denominator right here is what? 32. So if that was a 16, I would have changed this to 16 over 16. If it was a 64, I'd change this to 64 over 64. I'm getting a common denominator.
Okay.
Made it easier to add the 1 to the problem.
Well, actually, yeah, you can't add it. You have to change it into a denominator. Yeah, a common denominator.
So you have to take that 1 and make it into a
Yes.
make it a common denominator.
Yes.
Okay, every time.
Anytime. Let me show you an example. Can I? Hold on a second. Oh, thank you. All right. Anytime you've got 1 plus 32 over star, okay, I got to change this to star over star. If I've got 1 minus 25 over 16, I got to change this to 16 over 16. Okay? I cannot add or subtract a fraction unless I have a common denominator. Okay?
Yeah, that's what I was
You've
trying
got
to
to
get
change
at.
it. Say
That
again.
32 over 13, yeah, that's what I was trying to ask you.
1 plus 35 over 13. I have to change this to 13 over 13 to do this. Okay? I have to change it. Now, multiplication, totally different. If I do a multiplication, maybe I need to go through the dang old review of dang old fractions. My multiplication is it. Once you do multiplication and addition, is it. So if I have 7 over 8 divided by 1 over 2, okay? There is no division of fractions. There is none. So what do? You multiply by the what? Are y'all listening?
Nothing. Fuck it.
Y'all got a question? What's the question?
No, I don't have a question.
Okay, you multiply by 2 over what? 1. So when you divide by a fraction, you multiply by the what? Reciprocal. Okay? Does that make it a little bit better?
Yeah.
And I guarantee you those 2 questions, there was probably people in both classes, all 3 classes, that probably had the same type of questions. So just feel free to ask them, because if you don't ask them, you don't know. So thanks for asking those. I don't know how to feel to have communication in this class. All right, so let me go back to.
Okay.
I have those.
Oh, I got to go back to the white screen and go back one. There we go. Okay, now back to the cluster fudge. Now what we got to do, tangent of A minus B. So now go to tangent of A minus B, and tangent of A minus B is tangent minus tangent over 1 plus tan tan. So I'm going to take my handy dandy eraser. Well, I should have just, oh well, forget it. I'm just going to go ahead and erase this. And here we go. 1 minus, or tan minus tan over 1 plus tan tan.
Hubert?
Yes.
Since we're still doing the tan problem, couldn't we have just saved our plugging and then just changed the signs to chug?
You could, yeah, but I'm not going to walk before we can crawl. I'm going to make sure everybody can crawl.
Okay.
So I'm not going to, that's like in the intercept method, people just cover up the term. If I show people to cover up the term first, their heads will explode. I'm not going to do that. No, but that's a good observation. All right, so tan of A, alpha and beta, alpha, beta, alpha, beta. And the tan is -5 over 8, -15 over 8, I think. Minus brackets, tan of B is -3/4 over 1 plus -15/8, -3/4.
Why'd you put brackets instead of on top again?
Okay, the reason I put brackets was because I have a what in front?
Negative? Okay.
A negative, and that negative is going to change that negative to a what?
Positive, yeah.
Positive. So that's why.
I was just wondering why I just put I'm just used to putting parentheses still.
That's fine. You can do that. That's fine.
Okay. I was just making sure there's no other reason you're
No,
doing
it's
brackets.
fine. That's fine.
Okay.
I was telling my college algebra class they got very aggravated about a certain concept, and I said, well, I turned over a desk in college algebra at Pickens Hall, Oconee Hall, on the second floor of Oconee Hall. I think it was like 215 or 217, and Dr. Gabati threw me out of the class. And do you know why I got irritated? Because I could not figure out why people were changing the sign with something like this. Okay? And that's why you bring up that, you use parentheses. I could not figure out, I got so mad at that concept because I couldn't figure out why. And if somebody had just shown me that this was a -1, I would have understood it a whole lot better. And then I would have not got mad. I could not figure out why that negative was just going in and flying all over the place. But if they showed me it was a -1, I would have understood it a whole lot better in college algebra. So yes, that -1 right here will distribute across here and make that a +3/4. So make sure you know what that means. So
Yeah, I knew that. I just, yeah.
that's fine. I was just using that story to say sometimes we can get confused with little things, just little things. All right, -15/8 plus 3/4 over 1 plus positive, and I'm just going to write it out. I know I can't cancel out anything. So that's going to be -45 or +45 over what? 32. Now I'm going to erase all this because I want to show you what's going to happen there for those of you that need it. So I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to get -15 over 8 plus 3/4 over 1 plus 45 over 32. And of course, this 32 dictates that I'm going to change this number into what? I'm going to change that 1 into 32 over 32. And I've got to get a common denominator up here of what? 8. 4 will go into 8 2 times. 2 times 3 is what? 6. So I got a common denominator there and on the bottom. Could I have changed everything into 32s? Yes. You can do that. That's up to you. I don't care. Because you got to reduce it at the end anyway. So I'm going to get, what's negative 15 plus 6?
9.
9. Negative 9. Over 8 divided by 32 plus 45 is dang old 77. Yes, Hubert. No, Hubert.
Possibly, Hubert.
Possibly. Okay. Now I'm dividing a fraction by another fraction, so I'm going to multiply by 32 over 77. And negative times a positive is a what?
Negative.
Negative. And you can factor the 8 and the 32. You can say 8 will go into 8 one time, 8 will go into 32 4 times. 9 and 77, there's no hope. So that's going to be 9, that's going to be 36 over 77. Okay, who has a question on that one? Now, you have just done pretty much 4 test questions.
Awesome.
And now you feel, and with the bonus questions, you know, that's what? A 70. So now you got a C on the test. So let's take it back to the handy dandy. And somebody tell me what the first answer was.
It was negative 84 over 85.
Negative, and I'm going to put the fraction in front of the parentheses. Negative 84 over what?
85.
Oops, sorry.
84 over 85.
Thank you.
No.
84.
I suck.
You'll get it. It's fine. Nope.
84 over 85.
There we go.
And we feel good about ourselves. So we don't have to wear extra makeup and look like an Oompa Loompa. All right, so sine of A minus B. What was the sine of A minus B?
That was negative 36 over 85.
Negative 36 over 85. No sunglasses indoors.
Nope.
Tan of A plus B.
I believe that was 84 over 13.
84 over 13.
Hey.
And remember what I said about texting in class? I'm talking 80 what?
84 over 13.
84 over 13. And last one. What is it?
Negative 36 over 77.
Negative 36 over 77.
Wow.
We're not in quadrant 4.
2 for
How can we not be in quadrant 2?
A plus.
It's talking about A plus B.
Oh, A plus B. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So quadrant 2. I'm sorry, I didn't read the question. Typical guy, don't read directions. No, it's not.
Yeah, because A plus B is positive. 84 over 13.
Okay, I don't really care about this.
Yeah.
So which one is it? What's A minus B? Somebody tell me quadrant of A minus B. So let me show you what that means. A minus B, the sign is A minus B is negative. Does everybody understand that? All students take calculus. So that means it has to be either in what? The second, the third, or the fourth, right? All students take calculus? All students take calculus. I think that's what I'm trying to say. So A minus B is either going to be in quadrant 3 or quadrant 4. I think quadrant 4 because that's what we started with, right? Is
Well,
this?
you can figure out with 10.
Yeah, tan. All students take calculus. So what was tan of A minus B? Tan of A minus B was what?
Negative 36 over.
All students take calculus, so it had to be in quadrant 4. Am I thinking right?
Yeah.
So you have to use all of them. All right, now, whoever sent this question, you did a good job. Let's do it again. This time I'm gonna use the whiteboard. I'm not gonna use the other one. So do that one. And this way you'll have 2 questions, which will give you 4 test questions to work on. Now, for those of you that can't see it, I'm going to write it for you. See, some of y'all looking kind of like you can't see it, so I'm going to. I pay attention. I try to. Everything's the same except for the numbers. Numbers are a little bit different. 8 over 17 and negative 12 over 30. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the 2 fourth quadrants. And 8, 17, cosine, Oscar had A hump. So A, I'm going to do it in blue. There's my A, and my hypotenuse is 17, and that is 8. Over here, I'll draw another one in red. And that one is going to be Oscar had, that's going to be negative 12 and 13. Okay, so now that I've got you started, now I'm going to do Pythagorean and find what you need, and then you can start plugging and chugging. I'm going to go get some water.
Is this where you're at? Is this where you're at? You know,
Trying at the beginning. Yeah. I tried.
it still gave me 36 on
36.
I think so. That's how mine was. It might not be though. You just put yeah.
Okay, didn't we say 17 was like 259 or something? What is it?
89.
So 289 minus 64, dang old 225, and 225 is 15. Yeah. 169 minus 144 is 25, right? So that's 5.
Yep.
So I'm going to take my cosine right here. Cosine equals 8 over 17. Sine is equal to Oscar had, which would be 15 over 17. Hunk of apple be of 15 over 8. Now don't forget, that's a negative 15. So the sine is negative and the what? Tan is negative. That's supposed to be 15 over 8. I don't know why I wrote A. Dang old Jason. Okay. Now I'll take our red pen. Trying to show y'all different ways to organize this. Trying to help y'all out if y'all can't understand it. Sine of negative 12 over 13. And then the cosine. Oscar had a hunk, which would be 5 over 13. Of apple, which is negative 12 over 5. Somebody help me out. Negative 12 over 5. Okay, we just finished part 2. Now we just have to do what? Plug and chug. So go ahead and do that if you haven't done it yet. So I'm going to erase this over here. And I'm going to go ahead and do the first one. And what is the sine of A plus B? That's sine cosine what?
Plus cosine sine.
Plus cosine sine. So that's sine cosine plus cosine sine. So I'm gonna take my, I'm gonna work myself to death here for y'all, but I don't mind. So I'm gonna take the sine of A, which is negative 15 over 7. What? 17. And I'm gonna multiply it by the cosine of B, which is 5 over 13 in red. Plus the cosine of A, which is negative 15 over, I'm sorry, 8 over 17 in blue.
Sure.
Times the sine of B, which is negative 12 over 13. Now we're going to leave 17 over 13. Let's see. 10 is 170 plus 51.
191.
Thank you. I thought I was close. All right, so that's going to be negative 75 over, what'd you say?
191.
191 plus a negative 96. I don't know, check me. Over 191. And negative 75 plus 100 is 175. Leave 171. Somebody check me out. Negative 171 over 191.
It's actually 221 on the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all told me wrong information. Okay, that's all right. I see how it is. Y'all suck. 221.
I'll take those.
Did you say 221?
Yeah.
Yes, 221.
And that might be. I don't know if it's reviewed now. It's not. Okay, now I realize some of y'all. I know what time it is. Okay, but how many problems have we actually done? We've done like 6 problems. So don't be discouraged. You still got 3 more to do. We don't have time to finish it. But the point is, you got 3 things you got to do when you're doing these type problems, these type right here. Part 1, you got to find where you are. Part 2, you got to use what? Pythagorean. And 3 is plug and what? Plug and shove. All right, so some of y'all are seeing what happens when you actually ask questions. It's a good thing. So it's called communication. Send more questions. I'll go over the rest of the questions come Thursday. So I'll extend the homework so you can continue the homework. So everybody can feel good about themselves and send questions, okay? You are welcome. I'm not such a bastard after all, am I?